You have to be 18 and over to go onto the platform, so you're fully grown adults. We're not doing anything illegal. I think OnlyFans is something that nobody should actually start.
If they didn't start it, you'd be out of business. You accept that?
He grew up without running water in Latvia, no electricity, bathed using a kettle over fire.
At 18, he lost his father. At 22, he retired his mum.
Hussle turned his pain into profit, building a multi-million-pound empire through controversial means.
But his story isn't what you think.
At the place that I grew up in Latvia, it is quite literally poverty. You fire it up, you put a big kettle, you pour all the water in, and that was your bath water to then pour into the bath. Like, that's literally how I grew up.
To the outside world, you're a digital pimp, let's say. Do you agree with that statement?
This is about obsession, sacrifice,
And a broken definition of success.
She's been able to retire her parents, buy a new dream house with like 4-car garage. She loves cars. And literally 2 weeks ago, she bought a Lamborghini.
If he was to watch this, what would one message you say to your dad? Before we jump into today's episode, we've noticed that 71% of people watching right now are not subscribed. If you're watching this, you're clearly enjoying it. Here's our promise to you. Hit subscribe and we'll keep raising the bar, bringing you the biggest and best guests yet. Sharper conversations, bigger guests, and unfiltered conversations that others won't dare to do. Hit subscribe now. Markus, firstly, welcome to the show. Let's dive straight into it. Would you let your daughter start OnlyFans if it made her rich?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
I don't think anybody should start doing it. That's my ethos. That's everything that I am actually for. I think lots of people have the wrong misconceptions of OnlyFans management agencies. We'll talk about OnlyFans as a whole different subject in a second. But OFM as a whole, in my opinion, it is only supposed to be there to help models who are already on the platform to make more money, to save them time, and essentially to help them actually achieve their dreams as to why they started in the first place. I think OnlyFans is something that nobody should actually start. Okay. Genuinely.
If they didn't start it, you'd be out of business. You accept that?
Yeah, correct. This wasn't my first business. This is like my 7th business. Okay, so I'm very versatile. I can adapt. And truthfully, this is, by the way, one of the things that I do in my coaching program. We help over 250 people around the world. One of the main things that I say right at the beginning is you should not ever try to convince or get somebody to get on OF and then you help them. And there's multiple reasons. One of the biggest ones, obviously, is ultimately that's such an important decision to somebody, right? Because what if maybe even a couple months, but in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, that person who you decided to get onto the platform, they have regrets, they have remorse. And who do they think, wait a minute, how did I even get into this? Oh, it was this person. Imagine how shit you'd feel.
Oh, 100%.
So that's the first thing. But even if you're looking at it as a business, right? Let's just say, take the emotions out of the way. But even as a business decision, that is pretty silly. That's the same as me running, let's just say a marketing agency, a general marketing agency, right? And I have 2 potential clients that I can work with in estate agency, right? Let's just say random. Estate agency A is just like me and you. Maybe we don't have any properties. We don't even have a business. We just want to get started. We love the idea. Wearing a suit, selling houses, driving a BMW and so on. Right? Yeah. And then option B is somebody who's already got maybe a couple franchises around the UK, lots of properties, sell, blah, 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 website, blah, blah. Who do you think would be a lot easier to work with and to make more money with? Most likely, yeah. So it's the same thing.
100%, I agree with that. When people hear anything related to them, 2 letters, OF, they're like, oh, forget that person, or this. You've seen it. You must see it yourself on socials.
Yep.
Even when you reached out to me to come on the pod, I was like, bro, so straight away. When you've come on here, you've said what you've just said, people look at you differently. They think, oh, bro, you know what? Fair enough, I get that. Even me now, I'm like, you know what? I get it. But to the outside world, what you do is, in their eyes, wrong. You're a digital pimp, let's say. Do you agree with that statement? Are you a digital pimp? Are you helping these women make money off their body?
I personally disagree. Like, I don't look at myself as that. I think one is fucking cringe. Like, oh, look at me, pimp, right? I fully understand how and why people might think that, but this is why I love doing these podcasts and why I love people asking me these controversial questions and these hard questions, right? Because there's a whole different outlook, at least that I have, right? Like I said, I don't think that anybody should start it and go on there, etc. However, if you've already made that commitment, if you've already decided to do that for whatever the fuck reason you wanted to do it, right? I'm not the person to be like, I'm going to not do this anymore. And I'm not going to make any money because I make millions of this stuff, right? And I'm very proud of it. And I'll tell you what I'm proud of. I'm not proud of necessarily like promoting this and that. And that overall, do I think it's a negative for the world? Perhaps. My opinion doesn't really matter too much. I'm sure we can discuss that and so on. But I look at the positives. One of my clients that we started with, and actually I can show you off screen, I can send you the screen recording, I can show you all this, all the receipts. We started working with her in late December last year, right? So now 7 months or so. She was at $8,000 a month before us. Last month, she done $116,000. She's been able to retire her parents, buy a new dream house with like 4-car garage. She loves cars. And literally 2 weeks ago, she bought a Lamborghini, right? Now, by the way, these are all materialistic things. These are things, some people, it matters. To some people, it doesn't. The point I'm trying to make is that I look at the positives. I look at the things that actually do help, on certain things. Now, obviously, you can look at the negatives. There's always negatives, pros and cons of everything in this world, right? You could look at a different industry. Look at, I don't know any specific names or examples, but look, let's just say there is somebody who is mine and your age, and their family is in wine, right? They live in south of Italy. They're very proud of their wine that they make. Wine is an alcohol at the end of the day. If you make a bottle of wine and you ship it somewhere and some idiot drinks it and then drives and crashes and kills somebody, wait, was it your fault or was it this person? You get what I'm trying to say? So that's kind of how I try to look at these things. I also try to zoom out in life as a whole and what things actually matter and what don't. If you zoom out and you look at the real problems in the world, bro, there's fucking children being blown up. There's literally, the government, there's so many places that are spending tens and hundreds of millions of dollars on these weapons of mass destruction. In my opinion, that is like ridiculous. You've recently had, there's certain things that we can't even discuss, because it might get flagged and so on, but I don't understand how like people let certain things go and they don't even talk about it. Yet there are certain things that people fixate and like, no, this is super bad. Let's talk about this. And again, I get it. I get the whole thing, but that's kind of my outlook on that.
Listen, I agree with pretty much everything you said, but I've got to ask you the questions the viewers want, which we will dive into later on. Who are you? Where are you from? Let's dive into who you actually are. There's a lot of people on here who may know you from socials and have no idea who you are. They're just thinking, Mikey, who's this OnlyFans manager you got on? Give them a little breakdown of who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, man. I'm originally from Latvia, which is a small Eastern European country. There's about 1.9 million people in the whole country. Tiny, tiny little place. I immigrated to the UK when I was 10 years old. So I sound British, but I'm absolutely not. Both my parents are from Latvia. Long story short, the place that I grew up in Latvia, it is quite literally poverty compared to UK, at least anyway. We didn't have electricity. We didn't even have running water to the bath. Quite literally, we just had a stove that you put some wood in, you fire it up, you put a big kettle, you pour all the water in, and that was your bath water to then pour into the bath. Like that's literally how I grew up. Candles, I'm not fucking exaggerating, right? But obviously I'm a kid at that point. I don't know any better. I didn't think, in my opinion, I had a very great childhood. My parents broke up when I was 10 years old. Again, I'm a kid. I don't really get what the hell's going on. Long story short, my mum found out who's now my stepdad, who was in the UK. They kind of like online dating even back then. And I immigrated to the UK with just my mum. We moved, and by the way, in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the dream come true. I'm about to go on a plane for the first time ever. Also, UK is this big, beautiful, like, this is the dream, right? And unfortunately, it's not anymore. But anyway, so yeah, flew to UK and it wasn't quite what I dreamed of, right? We ended up living in a council estate. It was a 2-bedroom mid-terrace. There was around 6 of us, I believe. It was me, my mum, and then a bunch of stepbrothers, stepsisters.
6 of you living in a 2-bed?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents lived in, so as soon as you open the door, it's like technically the living room, but that was my parents' bedroom. There was a mattress on the floor. Yeah. Long story short, council estate, for anybody who's maybe, I think most people are UK that are watching this, right? So you'll know what council estate is. And that's how I grew up. And everybody around me, obviously, either sold drugs, done drugs, whatever. I never wanted to do any of that. I always understood the bigger picture. Again, there's something I want to talk about later on is, I think one thing that's really helped me in life is zooming out and thinking of the bigger picture. We'll get to that in a second. And look, that was me from 10 years old to 18 years old. I like to say that I had a fairly normal childhood. I was always trying to be funny and so on, but I couldn't speak English, by the way, when I moved.
Not at all, nothing?
Not at all, swear.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So instead of doing PE and science, I done extra English lessons and so on and so on. That's how I picked up the language with the accent and so on. And unfortunately, when I was 18, my father, who was still in the UK, in Latvia, he unfortunately passed away in a car crash.
Okay.
Just unexpected. And these things happen. It's not meant to happen. Typically, that is quite literally how life is. Your parents are meant to pass away.
Not that young, though.
Yeah, not that young, for sure.
How did it affect you?
That was my turning point, truly. Up until that point, I was, again, same as most teenagers, I would say, going out, partying, just having fun with friends, going on little road trips, whatever, going to festivals or whatever. But I was always trying to hustle. I was always trying to make a bit of money. I was reselling shoes. I was playing video games. I was a massive little nerd. And I was Twitch. I'm sure you know. I was live streaming me playing Destiny 2, if anybody knows what that is. And people would tip me $5, $10. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are you tipping me this money? But I'll take it. And I was always trying to kind of make some money. But it was that moment when I went, okay, fucking making 200, 300 pound a week is not going to really cut it here, right? And also, by the way, I just moved out. I lived in a house share, which was like £400 a month, room half the size of this. And it was just not the great, place in my life.
Let's rewind a little bit back to your dad, because I always like to understand someone's family, where your family values come from. And I'm guessing he's your father. You probably inherited a lot of his values from him, right?
Yeah.
What was yours and your dad's relationship like?
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing.
Only reason I want to dive so much into your dad is because you kind of said it and moved on from it. To me, that means you want to avoid it because it means a lot to you. I want to get it out of you. Talk to me about your dad. What was your relationship like with him?
You know what? No one's ever actually asked me that. That's actually a really great question. Me and my father, up until, again, obviously 10 years old when I was living together, I don't remember much of it because I'm such a young child. But from 10 to 18, I would fly back and forth from UK and Latvia nearly once a year, kind of once every 2 years. But of course, when I flew back to Latvia, he would just spend the whole time with me, a whole entire week. We'd go fishing, we'd go for random drives, camp somewhere, and just do fun activities, right? And to me, I genuinely couldn't have asked for a better father. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to my mother, he wasn't the best. Unfortunately, he loved alcohol. And in most of Eastern Europe, anybody who's watching this from Eastern Europe, you'll know it's a very common thing.
Wasn't a good husband, but was a great dad.
Yes, brother. Yeah.
That's all that matters to you, really, no?
Yeah.
Moving on to 18. Was there points in your life where, and you did start making money where you was like, you know what, I wish my dad was here to see this?
Yeah, bro. That's the only thing that I wish I could not change, because it is what it is, it's life. But that's the amount of times, bro. The amount of times that I buy like a supercar or a watch, or fuck the materialistic things. I'm in holiday somewhere and I'm like, I'm literally sitting back. We had this recently. I just came from Monaco. We had this insane villa overlooking the whole of Monaco, all the yachts. And I was just sitting there on the balcony. I was like, wish I could just have a beer with him. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Yeah, but it is what it is, man. You just have to move on.
If he was to watch this today, right now, watching it live, what would one message you say to your dad be?
Man, thank you for everything that you've done. Genuinely. Thank you for everything. I don't think you could have done more. I don't think you should have done less. I think everything that you've done is perfect. Because look where I'm at. I wouldn't say I'm God's gift. I wouldn't say I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form. But I'm very proud of where I am, and I'm proud of how they've helped me get here. And so, yeah, thank you.
Listen, to tell us where you come from, saying there's no electricity, no hot water, to now telling me you've earned over millions of pounds, I'd be proud if I was you.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I'd be fucking damn proud. I'd say, you know what? Fair play to myself. I've done it. Listen, there's a lot of people in the UK now who have had way better upbringings than you, and they're still sat in Tesco working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So clearly something your mum and dad done and installed in you as a kid drove you to do what you've done. Now let's move on to 18 and onwards. Twitch, you thought, you know what? I'm done. What was next?
Yeah, man. And by the way, one thing, just for people watching at home, for anybody who's watching that is maybe in your lower class, right? Maybe you're living in a council estate, or it doesn't matter. If you're just watching this thinking, man, I've got it hard. Bro, that is amazing. Genuinely, that's a fucking superpower. Because if you just stay consistent with whatever it is, business, if you want to do acting, if you want to do sports, it doesn't fucking matter what it is. But if you just stay consistent and you use that as motivation, as fire, eventually 5 years down the line, you're going to look back and be like, man, because I was in such a shit place and I just had to get to it, that's a superpower. People that are born in middle class, these lot got it really fucking hard because they don't really need to. And then people that are born like in really wealthy families, holy shit. I mean, I don't know, but it's probably even harder because you don't have to. Why do you have to start a business?
Hunger's not there. I always say people who are born with nothing, they've got the easiest way to make something.
Yeah,
because
bro.
Anything is something.
It's only up from here.
It's only up. If you're born with nothing, even if you was living in a 2-bedroom flat right now, it's way better than where you started. You still be proud of where you are. Obviously, things are way different. You're smashing it in life. You're making millions. You're doing all of it. But let's talk about the journey to get there, because that is what makes it special. Saying you're worth X amount now, it means nothing, because realistically, you could lose it. Hopefully you don't, but you could lose it. It's the journey that makes it matter. Talk to us about your journey.
Yeah, man. So 18, this is when that turning point happened, when I thought, okay, I need to do something serious, right? Like serious money. And to me, £10,000 a month was like,
massive.
Yo, I'm driving Lambos at this where I'm living in central London. And so that was my big goal. And to give you guys a little bit of context, the most amount of money I've ever had in my account at that point in one time was like maybe 2.1 thousand pounds. Okay. To me, that was like a lot, you know? So I'm thinking, right, how can I make 10K? I swear, on YouTube, how to make money online, how to make 10K a month. I swear, that was me. This was, I want to say 2019, 2018, something like this. And then I stumbled across SMMA, social media marketing agency. Now, back then, that was a great opportunity. It was kind of like selling fidget spinners back when, like, I think COVID time. It was like nobody knew about it really, and it popped off, And I just went all in, because exactly what you said, it's only up from here. Who fucking cares? I'll pick up the phone, I'll call them. Who cares? Who cares if they say no to me? Who cares? So that's what I done, and I just locked in. And I swear, for 2 years, I swear, no partying. This one, I might reconsider thinking back on it now, but I locked off all my friends, all of them.
Seriously?
All of them. Yeah. And if anyone's watching this from my close circle, I don't regret anything, but I'm a little bit sorry that I just locked you lot off. Like
fully cut ties. That's it. See you later.
Yeah. I moved out of the place that I lived in. This is when I went to a different house share. And bro, I literally just locked off everybody.
That's it. Safe. See you later, boys.
I'll tell you why. It's because this is the point when I started reading books and really watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I was in such a place in my life where, bear in mind, again, for context, no older brother, no uncle, no older male figure in my life. That's crazy.
It's just you.
It's just me. So I'm literally like a sponge. When I read something and I listen to something, and I've obviously done a little bit of due diligence, and if it sounds right, I'll take action. And what they said is the people that you surround yourself with, you become them, right? And with all due respect, the friends that I was hanging around with, nothing wrong with them, but they just didn't want to make loads of money. It's absolutely fine. Not everybody has to, but I did. So I'm like, well, if you don't want to talk about money and let's plan ideas and obviously I tried, but if they don't want to, then cool, I have to do my own thing. And that's when I moved and I just went all in with SMA. And I found it pretty easy.
What was social media marketing agency? What was you doing? Because now everyone knows what it is. Everyone, it's normal for everyone. You go onto Instagram and there's 1,000 people. Everyone's a fucking social media marketer. What was you doing different back then? How did you lock these deals in with people? Why did you think, you know what, why did you choose that out of everything online? If I go onto YouTube right now and say how to make 10K, there's thousands of videos. Why choose that?
So I was trying to be as strategic as I possibly could. And I was looking at all the skills and things that I know and I'm good at and so on. And out of everything, the one thing that I really enjoyed and still have a passion to till this day is creating content. I just love it. I think it's super interesting. And I started with music videos for rappers.
Really?
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to think like, okay, what kind of resources I can have. And I had a few rapper friends. One of my friends had a studio in his little shitty apartment. It's so funny. But I would just sit on his sofa and just listen to all the beats and rappers would come in. They were absolute shit. But this is literally how it all started. He finished his song and he looked at me and I was literally holding a camera, just fucking around with it. And he was like, you do music videos, yeah? And I went,
what,
yeah.
like you was filming them?
No, I wasn't at this point. I was looking into it. You know Cole Bennett, maybe? I heard of the name.
Rings a bell, yeah.
Cole Bennett now is the biggest like music video director. He's done videos of all the huge, like biggest rappers of all time. And he was up and coming, by the way, back then. This was, again, 2018, I believe. And I was learning from him. I was watching his stuff and so on. And he just said, you do music videos, yeah? And I was like, yeah, never done one, but yeah, I'll do it. And anyway, so that's how it started, bro. I just picked up this camera, which wasn't even mine. It was my boys. And I just shot the video, went home, and I just stayed up till like 4 a.m., went on YouTube, learned how to use Premiere Pro, I pirated it, you know, when you don't actually pay for that shit, because I didn't have the money for it. I swear, done the music video, boom, sent it to him. He was like, bro, this is sick.
Well, you edited it, you learned it all when you just said, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, bear in mind, obviously, I had a bit of experience in Premiere Pro in college. I went to West Suffolk in Bury St Edmunds, and I learned a bit about that. But anyway, these lot don't care about it. So yeah, and that's how I started. And then I was like, okay, well, with all due respect to all you rappers, a lot of you are fucking broke, and it's fine, yeah. But I just needed to make money, and they couldn't pay me. So I was like, okay, let me do this video stuff, but for businesses, because they got money. And then I started learning about really the SMA, and that's kind of how I really got into it. And then, yeah, I started making videos for local businesses, just all around my town. Yeah. I'll just walk in, hey, can I make a free video for you guys? That's how I started. Free video, which took me like 30 minutes. And then eventually went into like page management. I'd manage their Instagram and Facebook because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They're like 40 years old, right? They don't know. And I was like, cool, I'll do that. Then I'll manage your Instagram. Then I'll manage your Facebook. Then I'll run ads for you. And I just learned all this shit on YouTube.
What was the first deal you closed that rings a bell when we talk about that today?
And I can literally, this is exactly what it was. And I'm quite passionate about cars, right? Okay. I don't know everything about cars, but I love cars, right? Yeah. And so I was like, cool, I'm calling every single dealership around my local area. And there's still, you guys can Google it right now. It's called Total Head Turners. I believe they're in Chelmsford. Yeah. So, kind of far from here. But anyway. And anyway, they were the first people that were like, right, cool, come in and we'll have a meeting, whatever. They didn't really give a fuck.
You were 18 years old at this point?
Yeah. Okay. They were like, come in, whatever. I put on my suit, which at this point is way too fucking small, right? Yeah. I can barely fit in it. I drive there. And long story short, I sit down, there's two business owners, right? This like old school office, whatever. I sit down and they're like, right, what have you got to present for us? Open up my janky little laptop. And I'm like, here's a presentation where I think I can make you more money. By the way, they sell like old school cars, like 60s, classics. 70s. Yeah, classics, yeah. And I'm showing them how I can make them go viral on social media and sell these cars.
Is TikTok even around at this point? TikTok wasn't even around, no?
I think it's just starting, bro. Okay. I think it's just starting.
But it didn't blow.
Nah. I think 2017, 2018 is when it's just starting. And anyway, and you know what they say? They go, yeah, but our clients are 60, 70 years old, Markus. They're not going to be watching your Facebook ads. And I went, but their sons and daughters are. And then they went, I love that. And that's how I got the deal. And I pitched him for £1,500 a month because like everybody was telling me that I have to do it on YouTube. And I just said it. I was like, it'll be 1.5K a month. And I went, right, here's what we'll do. We'll give you 1.5K, but total for 3 months. So aka £500 a month. And I was like, yep. And that was how I started, man.
And when you got that deal, was you like, okay, I'm rich.
Bro,
that's it. I've made money. Bro. Like, mum, don't even work no more. I got it covered. Was you that guy?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Next deal, how long did it take you to sign the next one?
Roughly a couple of weeks. Honestly, I found it pretty easy. I wouldn't naturally, surprisingly enough, I'm a very introverted guy. Like naturally, if I got to choose, I'm staying at home and I'm working. I don't want to see people. I'm just by myself. But if I need to, I can pick up the phone. I can switch into these sales and so on. So I found it fairly easy. Just being a little bit witty, have a little laugh with them, get through the door. Hey, let's just have a call. Let's just have a meeting, right? And I found it pretty easy.
And it was simply you doing everything?
Yes.
You was filming, editing, uploading?
Everything, bro.
When did you hire your first person? Because for me, when I first hired someone and I paid someone their first wage, I was the boss.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, yo, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I have someone working for me.
Yeah.
Did you have that exact same feeling?
Similar. So again, remember how I said I don't have an older male figure and I was just a sponge? I was listening to all the videos and all of them said, trust me, don't do everything by yourself for too long because that's what people really fuck up on. That's a lesson for every business. You should do it yourself, but for about a month or two until you learn the skill and you can teach somebody. And that was me. I done it all myself for about 3-4 months. And then I started hiring virtual assistants from like India, Philippines, and so on. And it didn't go to plan. Like they weren't the greatest, you know, but
I don't understand nothing you're saying. You're
nah,
like,
bro.
Make this a reel, you get back a 15-minute video. You're like, how did that, where did it go?
Yeah.
Got rid of them? Did you involve friends? Did you make up with your friends? What happened?
Well, I always stayed to myself and so on. And my friends kept like, this is how it went. This is how I locked off my friends. It wasn't a case where I messaged them and went, right, boys, I'm locking in.
I'm becoming a millionaire.
I'm locking in, right? It was more of a case where they kept inviting me just like they normally do, you know, hey, let's go for a beer, blah, blah. And I just kept saying, no, I'm busy. And they started to kind of get the gist over time. And it went from an invite every day to maybe 1 or 2 a week to maybe 1 or 2 a month, you know, and then eventually just we fizzled out. So honestly, bro, no, I never really had that. I was just so fucking locked in.
The goal was 10K a month. How long did it take you to hit that?
That's a good question. In my opinion, the start was the car dealership. Technically the rap music videos, right? From the rap music video to the car dealership, that was about 5-6 months. But in my opinion, the actual business was when I
Yeah.
started with the car dealerships. From then to 10K a month, I want to say 7 months.
Very quick.
In my
To
opinion,
hit 10K
fairly
a month,
quick.
that's amazing money at the age of
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah.
Did you sustain it?
Yeah. There was peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
There was one of the points that really fucked me up, and this is another lesson for everybody, is I closed 4 deals,
Yeah.
meaning that I got a verbal yes, Markus will sign up. And the total was about £4,000, thereabouts. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm about to get £4,000 in. I'll go on Amazon and I order like Apple AirPods, a new desk, a new laptop, a new chair, like, reasonable things.
You spent the
but
money
I spent
before
the
you
money.
got it.
Bro, none of those deals came through. That was a really shit place. So meaning that's when my liquid
Dip
cash
was.
was very low, but I always sustained around 10, 15, 12,000. Yeah.
And scaling that up to now, where we're going to talk about how much you're earning now, but scaling that up, when did it reach its part where it hit the roof and you was like, okay, on to the next thing?
That's a good question, man. It wasn't ever a case where like I hit a ceiling and I was like, right, like, I don't know what to do now. There's always more clients to get. There was always more offers to offer. And I was always constantly educating myself. One thing that I think I've done very well across, I think now about 7-8 years in business that I've been in, is I've never taken the pedal off of, or my foot off the gas pedal, right? I've always kind of just tried to stay locked in. And this is one thing that is super, super important. People should never get too high on their highs or too low on their lows, because it's inevitable, right?
Yep.
And if you get too excited about your highs, when the lows come, you're gonna really suffer. So whenever something is amazing, is going great, I'm not like, all right, cool, Gucci this, Lambo. Nah, bro, you just got to stay consistent, So I never really had too many like ceilings and moments where I was like, nah, this is it.
So when did you never move over to the next business? What was the turning point? What made you think, you know what, social media, time to move on?
So I'm doing social media now. I'm doing very well in the grand scheme of things. At the time, I'm thinking like, this is it. And my biggest goal, by the way, and this is funny enough, I actually completely missed this part, which is so super important. The turning point, yes, was unfortunately my father passing away when I was 18, but it was also about a week or two before that happened. I went to work with my mum. My mum is a cleaner, and she cleaned 2 warehouses and 1 office. And she would literally bicycle. She didn't have a driving license. And she would do that, by the way, because she doesn't have English, right? She can't really speak English that well. And she would bicycle from place to place, no matter if it's pissing it down with rain, cold, winter, windy, it doesn't matter. She would cycle. And I just went with her one day, right? Because at this point, I dropped out of college. I had fuck all to do. And I went with her. And I remember I'm 18 at this point, right? After this whole 3 shifts, my back hurt. I was aching. And bear in mind, I'm going gym already at this point. I'm a healthy kid, right? And I'm thinking, how the fuck is my mom doing this every day? And on top of that, we're living in a shit council estate. We're going to Tesco, but we're only going to the reduced aisle. We only shop in at the reduced aisle, which means that the food expires in 1 or 2 days. And I'm thinking, surely this is what life is. Surely that's not what life is like. And that was kind of that second turning point, by the way. And unfortunately, my pops passed away. That's when I really kicked into gear. But I done SMMA, 10, 15, 20K, whatever. I saved up to retire my mum. That was my fucking goal, man. That was it. And that took me about 1.5 years. My mother, I would say very fortunate for me, she didn't have a mortgage. She had about £8,000 in credit, which is fuck all. Really, she didn't really have too many things to pay off. And the job was only paying her maybe £1,800 a month, with all 3 places.
How did your mom feel when you done that?
She didn't accept it.
Really?
She did not accept it. She didn't accept it for 2 months.
Serious?
For 2 months.
And how did you do it? Because you don't just walk in and say, Mum, you're retired
Of
now.
course.
How do you go down that of actually doing that?
So, by the way, the whole thing was, I want to say about, nearly 2.5, 3 years of me just grafting and just, by the way, if you knew me back then and you can vouch, and anybody who knew me back then can vouch for this, on my mother's life, every single day out loud, I said, I'm going to retire my mum. Every fucking day. That was the only thing that was in my mind, right? And how did I do it? I was very sneaky. So through my stepdad, I got in contact with her employer.
Okay.
And I told him, this is my goal. Let me ask you, how much do you pay her? And I figured all this stuff out. Then basically it was all from my stepfather. Then through my stepfather, I found out how much she's in debt. And obviously I knew she doesn't have a mortgage. She doesn't really have anything like this. So I kind of calculated all these things. And then I just went online, how do you even retire somebody? What does that mean, right? And there's so many different ways of doing it, I suppose. But in my opinion, is a fuck ton of lump sum of money and an ongoing monthly allowance, meaning that you don't have to work another day in your life, right? And that's what I done. I saved up a big lump sum of money, and it was Christmas. Fuck, I don't want to say the wrong year, but it was now about 4 years ago, I want to say, thereabouts. It was Christmas time. I surprised her. I flew back to the UK. I surprised her and took her out for a dinner. And by the way, this is also a funny thing. Me and her both agreed that this Christmas, we're not going to get each other anything.
Okay.
Only because she just couldn't afford anything, like genuinely. And I was like, yeah, mum, I won't get you anything.
Did she know how much money you was making? Did she know how someone was doing really well? Or was it just, like for me, for example, my mum don't think I do well. She just thinks, oh, he does that YouTube stuff. Like she doesn't actually take in what it is. Obviously, your stuff was all online as well. Did your mum kind of look at it like he's just doing some weird shit kind of thing?
You know, the interesting thing I think with my scenario is I have, I think it's monthly or weekly. I think it's monthly bank statements that get lettered to your house. Because my mum's house. She's seen all the things I'm spending money on, but also how much I'm making. So she did have the context,
Okay,
but I didn't have it all in my bank. You know, I had some in crypto, I had some in this and this. But yeah, so she had a bit of context.
So she knew you was making money.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, all right.
And
she most probably thought, why didn't you retire me sooner?
What's going on?
Literally.
And yeah, so I took her to this fancy little dinner place, and we had a dinner, whatever. And I was like, oh, mum, actually, I've got one thing for you. She goes, oh, come on. Like, we agreed that we're not going to get anything to each other. I had this jacket. I undone the jacket, had this letter inside, and I just put it on the table and just passed it to her. And she starts tearing up. Like, she's a very emotional person. This is where I get my like emotional side, by the way. And she starts tearing up. I'm like, mum, just open it. You don't even know what it is.
She didn't even open it.
No,
she just looked at a letter.
Yeah. And I was like, mum, please open it. She opens it, and it was a hand written letter from myself in Latvian. And it basically said, do you remember that day when I came to work with you? At that point, it was like 2-3 years ago, whatever. Do you remember that day? Blah, blah, blah. From that day onwards, I realized that I cannot see you suffer like this ever again. And it was my mission from that day to simply retire you. That was my one and single only mission in my entire life. Wow. And today, mum, I have fulfilled that mission. You're retired. Congratulations. And on the front of it, funny enough, by the way, it was obviously in English. On the front of it said something like, get excited for your retirement. And obviously she can't really read English that well. She just skipped past it.
And how did she not accept it?
Yeah, well, she was like, no, she's bawling, she's crying. She's like, Markus, no, because like I'm obviously the world to her, right? Yeah, I'm the only child, and all she cares about is me, you know? And she was like, look, I can't accept this from you. She knows how hard I've worked. Even when I was living at hers, I would still stay up. I would go to the gym super early in the morning just to have a bit more time. And the way she wouldn't accept it, she would just say no. And I was like, Mum, you've got two options. Either a load of money up front or just like a monthly allowance and I just pay for everything, pay for all your debts, etc. She was like, no. She genuinely said no to both of them. And on the drive home, I was like, come on, Mum, you need to choose one of them. I'm going to do it either way. And she carried on working for like a month or so and she was like, fuck this.
Phone drop, send me that money.
My mum is such a G, yeah.
How did that make you feel? Like now when you look back at it, because you know what, when you're in the moment, it goes so quick.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, I've retired, mum, quick, let's move on. What business is next? What are we doing now? What deal we sign? You kind of brush it under the carpet. Yeah. You don't really sit back and take in what you've done. That's pretty much every man's dream is to retire their mum. Now you take a minute to actually, like you said, zoom out for a second, look at what you've done. How do you feel?
And I think it should be every man's dream, by the way, because all the Lambos, the watches, the houses, the holidays, these are a byproduct. But you should really focus on what's the main thing. The main thing is your family. That's all we fucking got. And unfortunately, some people watching, maybe they don't have that. Yeah. But, you know, maybe your friends then. You've got to have some close friends. And it's all about the experiences because that's what life matters the most. When you die, you can't take that Lambo with you. Who cares? Who cares about that car? So I think that 100% should be the main focus for every single man. And if you don't have this burning feeling and desire inside you, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You got to choose something different, right? But how did it make me feel? Man, you know, there's so many stories of these famous athletes or these actors when they achieve this big trophy, the motherfucking trophy that everybody in the industry is striving for and they get it. Like the Michael Phelps, for example, but he's got every medal you can imagine. And after they receive all of this, they get a little bit upset, right? And the reason for that is because you lose that main motivation. You lose that fucking driving force that kept you going every day. Did I want to wake up at 5 a.m? Fuck no. Every single day? No. Did I want to do it? Did I want to work till 2, 3 a.m.? Like, no, obviously I don't want to. Some days I did, but most of the time we don't. Most of the time we as men, we do things that we don't want to do.
100%.
But there's a bigger reason as to why we're doing it. And unfortunately, bro, I just, done, completed.
So then how do you stay hungry? What is bigger than retiring your mum? Because in my eyes, nothing. That's it. That's final boss.
Yeah.
I've completed it.
Yeah.
You're still so young.
Yeah.
You were so young when you done it. You said 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, bro, yeah.
So you was, how old
I was
you?
around 22.
22 to retire your mum.
Yeah.
You've completed life. What is next?
So from here on out, I had 2 options. And funny enough, again, I put this on an Instagram story. And again, I can send your team this Instagram story and they can see it. I put a poll on my Instagram story because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I literally said, get this penthouse that I really fucking want, or go traveling. And I think it was like a 60-40, 60 to go traveling. And I'm so grateful that people said that. Because the idea was either stay in one place and just keep locking in and just get this penthouse and live this life that I finally wanted, or just go traveling and get experiences. And that's what I done. So now for the next like year and a half, 2 years, I just had 1 suitcase, like 4 pairs of boxes.
And that was it. Just flew around.
And I just went, yeah.
While still running all the social media company?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You had people running it at this point?
A bit of both. So obviously I was still very, very involved. But yeah, it was very automated by this point. Yeah.
And where did you go first?
I believe it was Spain, Tenerife.
Okay.
Tenerife was actually no. Well, to actually move out and live, it was Tenerife. But before that, my first like proper lads holiday with like my entrepreneur friends was Marbella. That was a crazy time. But yeah.
How do you meet entrepreneur friends?
Social media is super simple.
But then you got to navigate from the real entrepreneurs and the bullshitters.
Correct.
How did you, because you're still so young, how did you know, okay, you know what, this guy's actually legit. This guy's faking it till he makes it. How do you separate people?
So one of the easiest ways, hence why I have one myself, is a paid community. The reason why it's paid, yes, obviously I'm not running a charity, so I make loads of money from it. But imagine the people inside this program. My program is $8,000. It's not fucking
Seriously?
cheap. It's
Wow.
very expensive. I'm fully aware. But there's a reason for that. It's less people, but the people that are in there, they already have some sort of experience in different businesses. They have all these skills. They have all these lessons. They have all these people that they know. So when you're inside this network, yeah, sure, there's 250 people or so, nearly 300 now. But think about the people that they know. And they're from all different parts of the world, all different walks of life. So that's simply what I done. That's how I started networking with people.
You know someone's got money if they're spending 8K to join
That's
a
what
group.
I'm talking about. Yeah.
Straight away, you get rid of the bullshit.
Correct, bro. Yeah.
And you went away. You went away with some of these entrepreneurs and linked up with them.
Yeah.
Was the conversation money?
Yeah, the only thing we would ever only talk about is how can we make more money, how can we make more money, and how can we make more money. What we'd do if we made more money, where we would go, what we would do, and how to multiply and everything. Only literally about money. Like, I know Tate always speaks about this as well. It's like, if you just imagine, I think the analogy he gives is like, imagine if you want to start an ice cream shop, right? And you're in a room with 5 other people who are already running an ice cream shop. Wouldn't you just learn how to run the best ice cream shop in the world? Of course, right? So when you want to make money, just surround yourself with other people. Maybe you don't even have money yet, but at least if they're learning about it and that's all they can fucking think about, you're eventually going to make it.
100%. I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
But you went on holiday. You traveled for a year and a half. Let's say you had a year and a half off to some people because you weren't grinding as hard as you probably would, sit behind a laptop. You was kind of just experiencing life, which I think to become the best entrepreneur, you have to do anyway. You learn lifestyle. You learn other people, what their habits are. You learn everything. But what is the driving force? What's the goal at this point? Do you want to hit a target of money? You've retired your mum. Done. Tick that box. What's next now?
Bro, Mikey, I'm going to be very honest with you, bro. You off this podcast, you asked me what was like one of the darkest or deepest points. That was it, bro.
When you was traveling?
I was in the nicest parts of the world, in the best clubs, driving supercars, being with some very wealthy people and so on and so on. I just felt like none of it matters. None of it makes me feel anything, you know? I'm very grateful for the things that I done and where I was able to go and the rooms that I was in, but none of it made me feel anything. It wasn't, who cares? None of it really mattered. And you know what else? And this is the part where I was like, man, this is crazy. My mum, unfortunately, also went super, super depressed after about, I want to say 4 months of me retiring her.
Serious.
And here's the thing about humans, which is super interesting, is every human has problems. Women, men,
all of us.
right? All of us. We have problems. Now, what's super interesting is if you take every single problem away from this person, you become the problem. believe it or not. It is
true.
insane, bro, how that works. And I never understood that. And that's what happened. I took every single problem away from my mum. I got her the best gym, obviously retired. I moved her into a new house. She's eating the best food, and she's just happy, right? But she became depressed because exactly the conversation me and you are having.
There's nothing else to live for.
What are we doing? Bored. Yeah, I'm the only child. I'm not home. What is she doing? And man, that was tough.
How did you fix that? So
I simply flew back. Like, this is also when we started arguing a little bit. We've never argued. I've never argued with my mom. And in my head, I'm like, you ungrateful woman. Like, I'm slaved away. But it's not that. She didn't mean it like that. She just didn't know, right? And I flew back and I was like, right, mom, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do day to day? Nothing. I was like, that's the fucking issue. At least I've got shit to do, right? I'm always busy. I'm doing something. So I don't even think about it. So then, that's when I got her into like loads of different clubs like Pilates and yoga. And she got a new hobby. She loves plants. Like, plants is her fucking forte, right? Name any plant. She knows about this one.
ChatGPT of plants.
Yeah. So then she fell into love with all of this. And that's like her new hobby now. At least she has something to do. I also helped one of her friends constantly come and visit her because she lives like 2-hour drive away. So just paid for Ubers back and forth. I took her to London all the time. And we just done fun things. And that was the main thing I think that was missing, is if you're going to retire somebody or at least like take their driving force away, you need to replace it with something.
100%. Yeah. I feel like, you know, me and my boys have always had conversation. What would you do if you hit this amount of money? Would you still work? And I always say yes. No matter what, no matter how much money I ever make in my life, I've got to do something. Surely, otherwise I'm just going to sit at home doing what? Let's say you made 100 million right now. That's it. Someone sent you a check, 100 mil. You got to still work, no?
Yeah, I'm blowing that shit, bro.
No, but truthfully,
of course.
What are you actually going to do? Okay, you're going to go buy the best Bugatti. Cool. 5 million. Done. Yeah. You're going to buy the best house you can live in. 20 million. Done. You're going to spend another 10 million doing shit. You now got 50 million. You don't need to earn no more money. What do? You're going to get depressed and bored.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly what you've done to your mum.
Yeah, man.
And thank God you realised soon enough, because she could have gone down a really deep circle and thought, you know what? She might have thought you was the enemy. In her head, thought, you know what, fuck him. Why did he do this to me? He just wanted me to be bored at home.
Yeah.
But I feel like that in itself is a massive achievement, and props to you for doing it. What you've done to your mum, listen, anyone watching this who don't want to do that, you're a waste man. I feel like that's the truth. But moving on back to business, like I always go back to, how'd you move on to OnlyFans management? Yeah,
so during this travel phase, going back and forth to UK to see my mum and so on, going back to like Spain, and so on. Long story short, I was living in Tenerife, and I just was seeing this girl at the time, and she was doing OnlyFans. I didn't know at first, and I'm sure, this is around 2021, I believe, around this time. And of course, I've heard of what OnlyFans is, but I never thought of it as a business opportunity. Like, it's just some girls posting nude pictures, right? Cool, power to them. But anyway, she was showing me how much money she was making, which at the time was around 5,000 a month. Which was like nuts to me, because I remembered back how hard it was for me to make 5,000. And with all due respect to her, she was doing fuck all for it.
Taking a picture.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, how do you make the 5K? And I'm such a like autistic kid when it comes to business. Like, I just love learning every single aspect as to how and why, but how can we do more and so on. And that's basically how that conversation went, is what do you do for that 5K? Okay. No offense, but not a lot. How can we make 10K? Well, I already think of all these ideas, but I asked her. And the two problems that she had is she didn't know what to do and how to do it, the marketing side of things. And the second thing is she didn't have enough time. She did, but she said she didn't have enough time. And I was like, cool, I feel like I can fix both of those things. What if I help you to do this and you just pay me $2,000? I'm just curious. And by the way, there was no percentage at this point. Nobody was doing OnlyFans management at this point. Genuinely, I was one of the first people. And that's kind of how we go into it. I had a bunch of virtual assistants, obviously, as well, from a marketing agency. I just went, cool, guys, you're doing this now. Obviously, not all of them wanted to, but some of them were like, cool, whatever. All they do is just reply to a few messages. One guy posts pictures and videos and edits.
He was loving that, wasn't he?
yeah. From car dealerships and lawyers.
He was sick. This is sick. I love this.
So, and obviously as well, I went from working with car dealerships and lawyers to now promoting half-naked chicks online. It's a lot easier to go viral when you're a half-naked chick than like a 60-year-old lawyer.
But how do you, as mad as it sounds, how do you market a naked woman?
Yeah, well, it's lust, I guess, right? It's what every single man naturally gets drawn towards. It's just in our natural human nature. You have to essentially just show them what they want to see, or at least tease to a level, right? And it's funny because at that point I started really learning about the male psychology and like what we actually want to see. And it's all about kind of, just essentially giving them what they want to see, but not everything, right? And kind of leaving that end part, which is, hey, by the way, you can see it on here. And that's essentially how it went, how I actually understood, okay, that's how a person goes from Instagram to OnlyFans. That's why and how he spends money on there. And I started learning about all these different aspects of it.
After month 1 of working with her, how did her numbers change?
10K, easy.
So you went from 5 to 10.
Simple.
Doubled her thing.
Yep.
She was loving it, obviously.
Of course.
She was like, cool, take the 2K. Let's go again.
And she was doing less work, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, physically, because she wasn't having to reply to all the
she's doing
messages. Yeah, no editing, no posting. We done all of it for her.
And moving on to getting more girls, did you think, okay, this could become a business, or was you just helping this girl at this point?
Bro, I was just bored.
Oh, for real, yeah?
I'll be honest. I was just a little bit bored and I just didn't know what else to do. And what happened is, girls obviously know other girls. Girls are friends with other girls. She told her friend about it. She was like, oh, I actually need somebody like this as well. And then all of a sudden, I got a referral. And then her friend joined me. And then her friend also referred. And then that's kind of how we got into it. I never done like outreach. And I never thought of this as a business model. I mean, sure, there's money involved. So I thought I'll make an extra couple K here and there. But I never thought it would grow into this massive empire that it is now.
And did you ever think about morally, is this wrong? While back then doing it?
That's an interesting question. The short answer is no. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
He was chasing the money, that's it.
Yeah. I think the other thing, like I alluded to at the very beginning of this podcast, I've always tried to not get too emotionally involved in pretty much anything. Whether that is news around the world, there's no right or wrong person, right? To somebody you might ask and they think this is the worst human on planet Earth, he's a horrible person. But then you might ask another person, they might have some sort of a justifiable reason as to why that person done something, right? And also fake news are literally propaganda. So all these things, I try to not get too delved into these things. I just look at the facts. The fact is, I'm not forcing anybody to go onto the platform. You have to be 18 and over to go onto the platform. So you're fully grown adults. We're not doing anything illegal. So in my head, I was like, cool, makes sense.
When did it become a point where you was like, you know what? Fair enough, this could actually become a really successful business.
About 3 months into it, I was like, right, I can actually make way more money with this than I can with my agency. Here's why. So with the agency, at least maybe I just didn't do it correctly. Maybe I'll hold my hands up, but you didn't really get that many referrals.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with like lawyers was my main thing. It was car dealerships, then it went to lawyers, by the way. And if you're a law firm in London, for example, and you're a criminal law firm, for example, that was a subsector that I was in, criminal law. If you also have a law firm in criminal law and you're also in London, I'm probably not going to help you.
You're all competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with girls, it's different. They don't give a fuck. It's not really a business. I mean, it is a business, but it's not like you're competing against each other. Technically you are, but nobody thinks of it that way. And that's where I realized, wait a minute. The opportunity for this is so much fucking bigger. And I also realized instead of charging a retainer, I should take a percentage. Because I realized if I just took 50%, I would have made way more. And by the way, also the way I justified it is I'm doing 90% of the work. Genuinely, 90% of the work. And I was thinking maybe I could charge 80, but oh, sorry. So yeah, we went in with 50% and it made sense.
You charged 50%, but they were literally taking a picture, you was doing the rest.
Correct, yeah.
Even, would you, as weird as it sounds, was you telling them what pictures to take, what is more appealing to men and stuff like that?
I mean, eventually we got into like thinking, okay, how can we really optimize it? Eventually it was literally just, hey, please make 1 TikTok a day, 1 reel a day. I didn't even know what to do. I just told them what to do and just asked them to do it. And I made sure they stay consistent. And I just got VAs to do the messaging. That's basically how it started. But then eventually you start to kind of optimize certain things and be like, okay, out of the 200 reels that you've uploaded, these are the 5 that have done the best views, replicate those. And then you get a bit more analytical about it, which is quite funny because we're just talking about girls making little funny dance videos, but there is like, you can always extrapolate.
It's all about teasing a male's mind to make them want to go and get more, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at what point did it scale to a point where you're like, okay, time to close down the social media business?
So I'd moved back to Manchester at this point because I couldn't live in Spain and all the other countries. I was just a bit sick of this.
Why couldn't you live there?
I didn't have one specific place. I like to have a routine. I never could find like a good routine. And also Tenerife, especially, there's always like, hey, let's go here, let's go out, right? So I moved to Manchester and I didn't know the reason why I moved to Manchester, by the way, is because I didn't know a single person. I was in London at first for a couple months. I moved to Manchester because I didn't know a single person. And that's the only reason why I moved there. I moved to Oxygen Tower, which is a new build back then. I think now it's like a couple of years old.
Yeah.
And I lived there. And long story short, I met who was my previous business partner, Harry. And we just went all in together.
Off side note, why do you like doing everything alone? One thing I've learned about talking to you is you love putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Moving to Manchester alone. No one knows me. Cutting off my friends so I have no distraction. Where does that no fear come from? Because you clearly don't care. You just want to do it yourself. How'd you do that?
You know, I think every single person, nobody is going to care about your business or you or me. Like thinking about yourself, right? Nobody, apart from maybe your mum and your dad, right? Nobody is going to care about you as much as you do yourself. Your mum and your dad, obviously they care about you, but they're not going to fucking set appointments for you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So in business specifically, you have to understand that nobody is going to put in as much effort as you will, apart from maybe if they're a business partner, right? And they have equity in the business. So I think from that point of view, I've kind of handled life in that sense. And I've always thought, well, I've always thought transactionally, right? I just have. In the sense that, okay, what can I gain here? What can I do this? Blah, blah, blah. How can I get to that next level? And some people will think, oh, that's the wrong way to live life, blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, bro, the places that I want to get to, I don't have time to be like, oh, let's just go for a beer. Sure, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I will, right? But I don't have the time to be like, okay, all of my friends are in this place. Let me just go live here and I can be happy because I'm with my friends. Maybe I'm just wired completely differently. And again, it goes back to me being an introvert naturally. I don't mind being by myself. I'm very happy with that. I'm very content with that. I think also perhaps because I've grown up as a single child in Latvia where I was living in this little house. There's nothing. It was literally the fields or the woods. That was it. There was no playground. The little village that I lived in Latvia, the population, genuinely, I'm not exaggerating, was maybe 500 people. That's probably pushing it.
That's it.
I'm not joking. There's only one shop in the whole little village, and that's where my mum worked.
Seriously?
Yep.
Well, at least she had a job there.
Yeah.
One shop, but she had no choice.
Yep.
Moving forward to, you said your business partner, Harry, right?
Yeah.
Why was he an ex-business partner? What happened? Was there a problem? What happened?
Yeah, sure. So I'll cut like 2.5 years short, and you can ask me any questions in between if you want. But it went amazing. Like and this is, by the way, to go back to your previous question, which is when did I wrap up the SMMA and went all in? It was this, when I met Harry and I went, fuck it, let's just go all in with this.
Was he already involved in OnlyFans?
No.
So two friends
Yeah.
said, let's get together, let's do this.
The reason why, by the way, is I went in with him is super entrepreneurial. He was also like me, very, very similar to me in the sense that he was like, bro, let's just make money.
Yep.
Let's just fucking get rich. And I was like, I like it, bro. And he was a little bit younger than me as well. Like he was just super motivated. Hunger. Thank you, bro. So yeah, went all in. And 2.5 years, well, actually the first kind of 6 months, it was fucking insane.
Smashing it, loving
insane, bro. 6 figures, probably within the first 90 days.
And this is just word of mouth.
Yes.
This is girls referring, girls referring, girls referring, girls referring, girls.
Correct.
Everything's streamlined. You've got sending in pictures in or however it's working, uploading it. Your whole team's replying.
Yep.
You lot are pretty much doing fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. Loving life.
And it's going amazing. We're raking it in. We're making some great money. We move into like a dream penthouse. For me personally, I always wanted a penthouse as opposed to like a villa. And this was the dream, which is like a duplex and the windows from floor to ceiling, both stories, and you're overlooking the whole of Manchester. And it was amazing. We started buying some sports cars and all this stuff. And fast forward about, I want to say 6 months of living there. So all in all, nearly a year in Manchester at this point. Me and Harry were sitting there. This was like one morning. It was probably November, October, something like this. And we're sitting there looking out this massive window and overlooking all of Manchester. It was raining, gray clouds, pissing it down. To go to the local little shop, like there's like homeless people, there's trash all over the place. And we're thinking, why the fuck are we here? Like, what is the point? And that was the moment when we decided to move to Dubai.
You two both moved to Dubai. You said ex-business partner.
Yeah.
Why is there an ex-part there? What went wrong?
So living in Dubai, also one little side funny story, by the way. When we decided to move to Dubai, it was that same night. We stayed up till like 2, 3 a.m. and we went on a website called Dubizzle, which is kind of like Gumtree for everybody in the UK. You can sell anything, cars, clothes, whatever. We're on this website, and initially we went on there to look for an apartment to live in because obviously we're moving there, we need a place to live. As soon as you load the website, a bunch of random shit pops up. A Brabus G-Wagon was one of the first things that popped up. That same night, 4 a.m. our time, which must have been 7 or 8 a.m. Dubai time, we ring this poor fella up, right? A local. We're like, brother, we're moving to Dubai. We haven't got there yet, but we need your car. We will buy it. Is it still available? He's like, yeah, we have a few people coming to view it, blah, blah, but you can put a deposit. We wired him £10,000 there and then.
Before you've got a house, before you've booked a flight, before you've even actually confirmed you're moving, you bought a G-Wagon.
Yeah,
that was a great business move. Well done. That was amazing. That was, guys, like, do you not hear that? Before you even get somewhere to live, just buy a car.
We're just having fun, man. We're young. We're making lots of money. We're just having fun with it. Obviously, no, don't fucking do that. But yeah, so we moved to Dubai, and why is he an ex-business partner is because we worked together for about 1.5 years. Everything was amazing. Everything was scaling. We're doing the coaching business, which I'm still doing to this day. The agency, everything is going amazing. We're buying supercars at this point, not sports cars. We're living in villas. Like, it's growing crazy. And long story short, one morning he wakes up and he was like, look, bro, I got to fucking dip. I got to get out of Dubai. No reason.
Okay.
No reason. I was like, let's talk this through. What's going on? You need to tell me something. And yeah, long story short, he moved to LA. Still to this day, there's no specific reason. And I was like, look, brother, me and you are like brothers. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We're rewinding. Do you know the reason, but you can't say it? Or are we just saying there's no reason?
No reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
No comment kind of
I'm telling them, look, me and you are friends, borderline brothers at this point, right? Let me tell you straight, the business is fucked if you leave. Because we've been living together, working together for nearly, 2 years by this point. And it's not like you're moving an hour away, buddy. This is 12-hour time zone difference. When I'm waking up, you're going to sleep, vice versa. And he was like, nah, bro, we'll make it work. If anything, it'll be more beneficial because you're in this part of the world and I'm in this part of the world. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense, but it's not going to work. And look, for an entire year, I was trying to get him to be like, come on, bro, like, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I guess it's just LA ate him up. It is what it is. He's just going out, partying, having fun, whatever. He's young as well. He's a little bit younger than me. So he wants to probably party. He wants to go out with all the girls and all this stuff. Cool, whatever. But as a business owner, and I need to protect my money.
You lot were 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay, completely 50-50.
And that's, by the way, another piece of advice.
Never go 50-50.
Never go 50-50. It just doesn't work. Maybe if you're blood brothers, but even then I wouldn't suggest. Because eventually, here's why. You know this already, right? But here's why. It's because eventually you get to a certain point, 200K, 300K, $500,000. It doesn't matter how much you're making per month. Eventually, either one person thinks to get to $1 million, we need to do it this way. And this person goes, nah, we have to do it this way. And there's a disagreement. Or the life changes. This guy gets a girlfriend, gets a pregnant, starts a family. He's not working so much. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that. And how did the conversation go about you obviously taking over? Did you have to buy him out? Did he just walk away? Did you fall out? How did that happen?
Guess what I done?
You blocked him, you left it all, you run away from it. What happened?
I left the entire business to him.
Seriously?
Both of the businesses, both the coaching business and the agency. That was earlier this year, by the way.
And you walked away?
January this year. Yeah.
And started your own?
Correct.
You left him the whole business making 6 figures a month and said, see you later.
Let me tell you why. So the agency itself, it was already going to shit. Simply because both of our fault. I'm not gonna blame anything like all just on him. Both of our fault. Because he wasn't so into it, I obviously was like, well, am I a dickhead? Why am I working all these hours when you're not, right? So the agency was already maybe making 20, 30K a month. And by the way, I know that's still a load of money, but like relatively at that point, we had been doing around 300K, 250K a month. The coaching business, yeah, it was going good, but there's no MRR. There's no monthly recurring revenue, right? It was just somebody in, gone, somebody in, gone, if that makes sense, you know? So then I was thinking, okay, I want to get out. He's a very stubborn person. I could not be like, right, you're gonna have to buy me out, or I'm gonna buy you out, or whatever, right? I just thought, I know here that I can restart all of this and do better by myself.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, instead of doing all this bullshit conversation, arguing between each other, I said, look, bro, keep it. Here's why I'm leaving, by the way. All the best to you, but I'm just going to do my own thing. And that's exactly what I done.
And you walked away.
So from January this year, I started a new agency and a new coaching business. And from January up until even last 2 months, this has been the hardest part of my entire life. I'm not joking.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, bro. It's here's the thing. I've had to deal with so much stress in so many different verticals on both health, family, and business, and finances, and logistics, and living in certain places, and moving. And bro, it has been so much, but I'm so grateful.
Do you not feel like that's what was missing from your life though?
Yeah. Because maybe I was just a bit bored.
You had an easy run.
Yeah.
Not obviously. I mean, as in upbringing,
you.
that was hard, but you had that gap where you was chilling. You needed something again. You know me, I always say I love stress.
Yeah.
I genuinely, when everything's going right, I'm like, okay, something's going to happen.
About to, yeah.
Like, yeah, something's really, really bad is about to knock me, because no one's life goes up like that. We're like a stock market. We're up today, down tomorrow. And I prefer that. I like going like that. As long as it's still in an up trajectory, I'm happy. But I've had times in my life where it's going up really, really well, and then something just crashes.
Yep.
And I love stress because you know you're doing something. You're working on it. You must love the position you're in right now, no?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I mean by
It's
I'm
building
so
phase.
grateful. And by the way, to again paint a bit of a picture as to what we were doing, this was, I believe last summer. No, sorry, about 2 summers ago now. We were at a point where in one day, I bought a Lamborghini Urus and a Huracan in the same day.
And you wonder why you're stressed?
Then we bought an RM, and then a couple months later, I bought a Patek. And by the way, again, this is after I've retired my mum, after I've gone on holidays with her, after I've sorted everything. That's the super important thing that people at home need to remember.
Yeah.
I get it. I get social media. It's all the fancy shit that attracts views. It's all the Lambos, the supercars, the bottle shows. That's what draws people's attention. But I like to always remind people about what actually matters. What actually matters is having the freedom to do what you want. That's the fucking
Financial
goal.
freedom.
Yeah, bro. And funny enough, the first thing, in my opinion and your opinion, is family.
Yep.
Yeah, sure, you have the financial freedom to do whatever you want, but you should also help your parents to do the same thing.
And you said now is the hardest time of your life. Financially?
Nah. Financially, we're fine.
Okay.
Financially, we're completely fine. Thank God. I'm very, very grateful for that.
How much has it grown since, obviously, let's say previous business, in a partnership, 100K a month?
Yeah.
Where are you at now?
Yeah, 300K. The agencies.
Monthly.
Yeah.
So you've scaled past him. You're doing way better than it was. Have you had some girls from the previous agency join you?
No,
None of them.
New. Yeah, all new. Just for a bit of context as well, and this is for you in case you ever speak to somebody you know FM in the future and so on. When people say these numbers, right? There's a software called Inflow, which is basically like how Shopify is for e-commerce, right? You can't really live without it. Everything is in this one centralized place. When people say their numbers, typically people say the number of inflow, which means that it is the total earnings from all models together.
And
it's
then
not what
they
they're
take their
taking home.
percentage.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it harder not having your partner there?
Nah. I have a new partner. So funny enough, it's actually somebody who was friends of his. And I'm not going to get into the drama, but yeah, he didn't like the person either. He came on to work with me, and he's actually my business partner now. He lives with me in Dubai.
Okay, cool.
We travel all together, and it's working out very well.
What's the hardest part of your life now?
Fucking booking Airbnbs and flights, and so I need a personal assistant, man.
So there's still things that obviously are not going right in your life.
Yeah.
You can't tell me money solves everything. It doesn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that obviously money can't solve. Do you ever feel down days?
Of course we do. We're human, right? And I think those down days you need to give you that perspective of, damn, life is actually amazing. We take things for granted all the time, we as humans. Even the most basic of things, the fact that we have 10 fingers and 2 arms. Imagine if you lost one of them fuckers, you'd be pretty pissed. And you think back at those times, man, I wish I could just have 2 arms, right? Things were a lot easier. So I'm super, super grateful for all the good and the bad. I don't get too emotionally involved in these things. I don't think you should. I think technically this is the whole stoicism, but I feel like people get a bit too fucking nerdy and they think stoicism is about blocking out your emotions. No, we are human. We all feel emotions. At least in my opinion, the viewpoint that I have is you shouldn't get too drawn into them and you shouldn't make decisions based off of those. Yeah, sure, you get a little bit pissed off. Go gym, go have a sauna, whatever you need to do, right? And then just think logically. The stress that I have now, it's things that I'll forget about in a couple of months. You know, it is
temporary
what it is.
stress.
Yeah, I'm in a very, very interesting point in my life where I'm starting to think about family. I'm starting to think about where do I really want to live, right? The next thing that I'm thinking about in business is, well, one thing that I've never experienced is an in-person office, a big like Wolf of Wall Street kind of environment. I would love that.
Do you need it or want it?
I genuinely feel like we need it. Because think about this, bro.
Is that you telling yourself you need it?
Well, here's how we're trying to think about it logically, right? Think about any huge company, and I'm talking hundreds of millions, if not close to the unicorn status. Are they just relying on VAs in Philippines and South Africa?
Of course not. They have got people working in-house. I hear that.
So I feel like there's a certain level that you can take, and it's all relative, depending on what industry, depending on what you're doing. Maybe software, maybe you could argue you can get it to a certain point, you're right? But I feel like for me, there's a certain point where we need to have a physical office because all the leaky parts of the bucket can be fixed in one place.
Based in Dubai?
Nah.
Where would you want to base it?
I think Cyprus. I think Cyprus is a great option. We just recently went there for the first time. Cyprus, I think your family's from there. You're from there? Yeah. We went there for the first time only about 2 months ago. And wow, that place is beautiful in so many aspects.
I haven't been back to Cyprus in 5/6 years now.
Okay.
I'm fed up of the country. I went every single year for about 3 months.
It was different, yeah.
And people say Cyprus, exactly what you're saying now. I haven't been in 6 years, and apparently a lot of money's been pushed over there. It looks beautiful. It's really nice. I just see it as a village. And you got to remember, when I went on holiday, I stayed with my grandparents in a wooden house, like a village. There was like 20 of us. It was like a jungle, bro. So when I think Cyprus, I'm like, how the fuck do these people like it? I hate it. Man.
But when we stayed, we had like, it was a 7-bedroom mansion that we stayed
I heard
in.
there are some beautiful places.
Yeah, but by like literally we could look at the sea and it was the most blue, see-through, beautiful water. And then we have luckily connected with some good like influential people there. There's some supercars and I lived a like similar life to Dubai, but with all the benefits of the fact that things like Dubai doesn't have. Yeah. And yeah, Cyprus might be one of the places.
And now moving on to you going into the next level of your life. What's your retirement figure?
Same as what you said, bro. I don't think there is. I don't think there is a point when I'm going to be like, do you know what? That's it. I'm just retired. I feel like there are...
Everyone has a number. You know, I always say this to everyone. Everyone has a number in their head they want to reach in life. Surely you've got that one number that you're like, I need to hit that goal.
Honestly, brother, it's not an income level, but there are certain things that I'd be like, that's pretty cool. I want to go on Forbes. I just want to say that I've been on Forbes. I want to do a boxing match this year just to be like, look, kid, when I have kids, you got to fucking do boxing because I done it. You know, certain things like this. These are the things that I'm aspiring for. Also, for example, I haven't done this yet, and this is one of my biggest things that I want, but it's just, the reason why I haven't done it is logistical, is I want to have my entire family, so my mom, my auntie, all my cousins, and so on. I want to get all of them on a crazy holiday for like a week or two. The only reason why it's difficult is because a lot of them obviously work and they can't just randomly take 2 weeks off like that. But things like that, that's what I'm aspiring for. I genuinely do not think like, right, this number I want. There's monthly goals. There are monthly projections that I have. Maybe I'm wrong, but just personally, I never look at like, yeah, in 5 years, I've got to make this much money. You know what I mean?
You said you want to have a boxing match. We talk about boxing. On your social media, you've got a picture, you sat with Tate.
Yeah.
How did that come across?
I'm very close with a lot of his friends, from Nigel, Marcel, Rory, Warren. And it just happened to be a case where Warren specifically, he said, look, man, we're going to be boxing here. We're going to be training here. You can come. Don't bring anyone. You can't bring cameras. But if you want to come for a training session and get the shit kicked out of you, you're more than welcome and meet the top G himself. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm all game for it.
What was he like in person?
Yeah, cool. He's just a normal person, man. I also try to not kind of idolize people too much because we're all human at the end of the day, right? Fair play to the guy. He's absolutely smashed life. Sure, there's certain things that not everybody loves and agrees with. That's every person in existence. But you got to fucking give the man the flowers. Yeah. That guy, even at the level he's still at, definitely works harder than I do when the guy doesn't need to. So yeah, definitely a big inspiration and being able to see him in person. I didn't have any expectations. I was just normal. I didn't ask for a picture, nothing like this. It just happened. And he's just a normal guy. Gives you the time of the day, asks you a little bit about yourself. And what also is interesting is he just knows everything. Like he knows already about you and he kind of knows a little bit about, because I think the way that he does it is his friends almost shit test you on quality test you before they bring you into the circle, right?
Fair enough. Is good friends.
Exactly.
And you mentioned about having a family and kids. When you go and meet a woman, obviously I don't know your relationship status. When you meet a woman, or if you're in a relationship with a woman, how does that first conversation go? Oh yeah, hi, I'm Markus. What do you do? I manage 300 plus naked women. Yeah. Oh my God, marry me. how does that conversation go?
Yeah.
When you tell them what you do, because to most women they're like, oh no, fuck
Yeah.
that. I'm not. Your girl sending you naked pictures. I'm not interested. How does that go?
Yeah, my CV looks a bit mad, doesn't it? Well, I'm in a relationship. It's public. I'm not really hiding anything. I'm in a different position where I was already doing it when I met my girlfriend. So it's not a case where, all right, now I'm going to start doing it. And then there's an awkward conversation. Wait a minute. Maybe I don't want to do it. Maybe I do. The other thing as well, and my girlfriend won't mind me saying this. I'm from Eastern Europe. So is she, by the way. There are certain traits that we have in Eastern Europe that my mother has instilled in me. And so has my dad subconsciously, right? Which is man is typically the man of the house. Wow, who would have fucking guessed, right? Which typically means that he's the breadwinner. If he's the breadwinner, meaning that the mother doesn't work at all, typically what he says goes. If you don't like it, no problem. Find another rich man. So I feel like me and my girlfriend, we never really had that conversation, but I feel like we just subconsciously both understood that. My girlfriend's retired. She's already retired. She doesn't have to work a single day in her life. We travel wherever we go. She doesn't pay for a single thing. She can get what she wants. So look, is it a case where she's super upset about me having to manage a team of people who then look at the pictures and then do the chatting? But the byproduct is she gets to live a very, very happy life and fulfilled life with me, and she gets more time with me, as opposed to if I had a 9 to 5 and I get home, I'm tired, I'm groggy, we argue, we have disagreements about finances. So you got to take it, you know what I mean? There's pros and cons.
100%. And I feel like, I suppose if she understands your business and sees what you do, not as in, I'm guessing you don't look at pictures anymore, you don't receive anything. I'm sure you have a team that deals with all of that.
Correct.
She don't really care, I suppose, no?
Yeah, correct. And I think the other thing as well, bro, even before me and you had this conversation, hopefully I've been able to open your mind a little bit more about this OFM side of the world. But this is one more thing I really wanted to say for people still watching is who don't know about OFM, right? Is as soon as they hear the words OnlyFans, imagine there's a spectrum, right? From fully clothed pictures to obviously the most craziest X-rated stuff. Everyone's mind instantly goes to here and the most craziest shits, which obviously is on the platform. I'm not saying it's not. But believe it or not, it's not all like that. There's just girls that post bikini pictures, the same as probably all the other girls in your university, but they just make a bit of money from it, right?
If a woman is okay to go onto OnlyFans and post a picture of her, even in a bikini, it will eventually go down the route of her posting X-rated content, because now she's put a value on herself. She now knows that she can post this picture and get paid for it. She's now allowed herself to become buyable. Someone can now buy a picture of that female. The picture don't matter. It doesn't matter what she's doing in that picture. It doesn't matter how explicit it is. It is, anyone can turn around to me and I can buy a picture of your girl online. It don't matter what the picture is. It doesn't matter what the picture is. They can say, I bought a picture of your missus. I feel like that's where the disrespect comes into it.
And bro, I don't disagree with a single thing that you said. And these are full-grown women. They have to make the minds up themselves on what they want to do and how far they want to take it. The only thing that I can control is what we suggest and what we ask our clients to do, which is just whatever they're comfortable with. We have an entire onboarding process whenever we sign a new creator, where they fill out a big sheet with about 200 questions. A lot of them are personal questions and so on and so on. But the most important part is what kind of content you create. Well, actually, we know this before we even sign on the creator. And they clearly tell us this is what they're happy with and this is what they're not happy with. And at least the only thing that I can control is what we ask them to do. And we never ask them to go above and beyond on, what they want to do. For example, that one of the creators that I mentioned about, who's very, very successful now. We've been together for about 7-8 months working together. She posts bikini pictures. She doesn't go any more than that.
It starts there.
Yeah, again, up to them. We're not suggesting them to do anything. I mean, think about it. If you can get to $116,000 a month,
a bikini picture, it's a bit mad.
Yeah.
But my only thing that I say is, if you're a single woman and that is what you've chosen to do in life, do it. I don't care. Do your thing. You're not for me. Do your thing. My issue comes down to when these women have kids. That kid doesn't deserve what his mom's turning out to be. In my eyes, I feel like he has no say. Let's say you're a single mum. You've got a 3-year-old kid. He has no say. He's now going to grow up to go to school where people are going to turn around and say, your mum's everyone knows.
Yeah.
And that is what I think is the only bad part about your business. Because You take on whoever the client is. Let's be honest. If they've chosen to do it, you don't give a shit. That's if you want to do it. I don't give a shit. I'm here to make you make more money. That's it. I have no emotional ties to you. I'm just here to make your business make more. That's it. To you, it's another business. You're scaling a business. They're ruining. They're automatically giving that kid trauma. They're automatically making that kid get bullied, and they're ruining his upbringing. That's the only thing I see wrong with that platform. Do you agree?
Yeah, again, don't disagree with anything that you just said here. And it just depends on the person. It depends on their story, where they want to take it. So in some cases, they want to do it for a year or two and then just disappear from social media. That 100% has happened. For those of the ones that get to really famous, like for example, Bonnie Blue as an example. Again, this is obviously the very, very extreme. There's no way you can disappear from planet Earth, right? At that stage.
Imagine that's your mum. But seriously, I'm like genuinely deep it.
Yeah.
Imagine that was your mum. Imagine Bonnie Blue was your mum.
Yeah, madness.
Like what? Like
and
who's your dad?
And again,
who's your dad? You're like, your fuck knows. Let's just look at the list. We'll pick one.
Yeah. So again, don't disagree with a single thing. For me, they're at the first stage deciding, I come in over here. I'm just simply helping them. You want to do it, you don't want to do it, it's not up to me. I'm simply here to help you scale, make you make more money. And if that's what you want to do, amazing. If you don't want to do it, cool. I don't recommend you doing it. Even when we first started, one of the first things that I said, I don't think people should do it. And that's truly what I believe. And yes, if nobody done it, I wouldn't have a business. No problem. I'll go into software. I'll go into AI. There's so many ways to make money. But just in my opinion, it's one of the quickest and easiest ways to make money right now online.
And what is the next business move for you? If there was a group of young kids watching this right now who didn't agree with what you do, if there is, sign up to your agency. If there isn't, what would you say is the best thing to get involved in right now?
It depends on what level you're obviously at. Let's just say the average person is 18 to 22,
25, yeah.
right? No business experience and you're just starting out. I think clipping is super easy. So you're just clipping a podcast like this and you can make money. You can go into WAP and you can make a little bit of cash. You can fuck around with AI. I personally am not too involved into AI, but that's a big trending topic. There's infinite amount of ways to make money. In my opinion, the real thing that you got to focus on is, again, zoom out, look at the big picture, is what's trending and what's on an upwards trajectory. Things like, again, extreme example, but newspaper. If you get into the newspaper industry, it's done. What are you doing? So you want to look at things that are trending and only on an upwards trajectory. Everybody wants to become an influencer. Everybody wants to become famous. So why don't you help them to do something along those lines? Everyone's talking about AI. Why don't you learn about AI and come up with some sort of a business in that sense?
And what is the downfalls of having an OnlyFans management agency? Have you had girls, I don't know how it works, you're going to have to educate me on it. Have you had girls make X amount of money, not pay you your percent and fuck off?
Yeah, sure, that happens.
Can that happen?
Yeah, that happens.
Or do they pay you and then you pay? How does that all work?
So everybody does it differently. We like to be as fair as possible. So we do not change anything on the OF platform that they already set up. So we don't change passwords. We don't change the banking details. Everything stays as theirs. And they collect the money. We send our 50% invoice and they send us the money. Now, to minimize the risk, we invoice on a weekly basis. So the worst case scenario, the client takes a week's worth of salary. It is what it is. And it
Have
happens.
you had that happen?
Yeah, a long time ago. It is what it is. For us, the main thing is to build that connection, that business relationship with the client, to make sure they actually look at us as friends. Because when you're friends with somebody, you're not going to want to fuck them over. You know what I mean? So we try to go above and beyond. We've been doing it for years and years and years. I like to say that we're the best in the game, and we have all the infrastructure in place to make sure they have the best onboarding process, the best experience. We even have a relationship manager who's a girl to just talk to them.
Seriously?
Yeah. How they're feeling. What are you up to? How's your day? Hey, by the way, you could do this. Literally. So we try and go above and beyond to really make sure the client has the best experience.
And what about depression for these girls? Do you find, obviously, from managing, how many girls would you say you've managed over your business?
Well over 300, yeah.
Okay, so over 300 girls.
Yeah.
Has there been females who get really depressed doing it?
Sure. I don't think I've personally had any experience where a client has messaged me saying, look, I'm really depressed and so on and so on. I have had instances where people have second thoughts, where they've been working with me for a period of time and they're like, I don't know if I actually want to do this anymore. Or they don't even say, they just, look, I've decided I don't want to do it anymore. Cool. No problem. And even when people do say they're on the fence, I don't know if I want to do it anymore. You choose. I'm not going to fucking call you. Because if I call you, then eventually, perhaps, somehow, subconsciously, I'll convince you to stay. I don't care. With all due respect, I'm doing very well financially. I don't need you to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
And moving forward now, there's a lot of younger generation out there who are broke. got no money, got no dreams, got no aspirations in life. What's your advice to them? You're still young, you're in their age bracket. What is your advice to the younger generation?
I think one of the most important things, after doing business for 7-8 years, making millions and millions of pounds, retiring my mum, supercars, watches, traveling, living the life that I want, and most importantly, mentoring literally thousands of people over the last couple of years, the biggest thing that I've learned, and this is the biggest advice I can give to anybody, is you have to conquer this first. What's insane, think about how crazy this is. The average person, most people don't even know what they want and how they're going to get there. You ask the average person, hey, what do you want to do in a couple of years' time? Oh, I don't know, probably get promoted. I mean, look, no, listen, context. Not everybody has to have a business. It's fine. I'm not saying that. But you must have some sort of a goal, a real vision. Because alternatively, it's like going to an airport and just going like this, I'll fly here. You're going to end up somewhere, but you don't fucking know where.
That's a good life, though. Right? That's not bad. Just go to an airport, picking a random flight. It's not too bad.
And in life, there's not many things that we can control. Sure, when you have influence and when you have money, you can control certain things and so on. But especially when you're broke and you're a nobody, there's not many things that we can control. And the mind is one of the only things that we can control, which is crazy. And most people can't even control that. Something happens to them. Mine and your stress levels, right, compared to the average person is like here compared to the average person here. So the shit that me and you deal with on a daily basis, the average person would pull their hair out and just go crazy.
My girlfriend sent me a TikTok where it was talking about entrepreneurial broke and like employee broke. Entrepreneurial broke is broke. We even feel the E. Like we start our month with -40. When you're broke but you've got a job, you're just waiting for your next paycheck. If we was to lose everything tomorrow, we start every month on minus whatever our bills are. That's how we start every month. And then we've got to earn it all to be able to pay everything to get an income. When you've got a 9 to 5, you're just waiting until you get paid. Life is so much easier. You know, sometimes I say, oh, you got it easy. People are like, well, how? You've got your own business. I'm like, no. You've got it easy. You have a job. Do you know how lucky you are to have a job? I've got to make sure I get sponsors, make sure I get views, make sure I get deals, make sure I do all of it to make sure I make money. Same with yourself. If all your girls was to drop tomorrow, you're like, fuck, what do I do now? You've got to make sure you sustain your business. What we do is so much harder. People think, oh, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing it well. No. It's a lot harder. Yeah, and I think that's why conquering the mind, like you said, it's the main thing.
And it never ends.
It never ends. Ever ends. It just gets harder and more stressful and more headache and everything above. But you said you've made millions of pounds.
Yeah.
How much have you made total?
I mean, I haven't calculated, but
roughly
on a yearly basis, between 1 to 2. I've been doing OFM for about 4 years now, probably around 6.
Okay. So at the age of 25 now. 25 now, yeah. You've made over £6 million.
Yeah.
You proud of that?
I can do more.
How much do you want to hit? By 30, what's your goal?
Well, on inflow, I want to do $1 million a year. $1 million a month by the end of this year. I think that's very doable. The trajectory that we're on. My big thing, man, is I just love business. I love everything about business. My next big thing that I want to get into is a portfolio company. I want to manage maybe an e-commerce, a SaaS, a bunch of other agencies, maybe some info product businesses. I just love the idea of helping businesses scale. And genuinely, I don't put a number on it, man. I really don't. I feel like after a certain point, I'm nowhere near to the level that I want to be at. Sure, maybe 20 million if you want a number, right? Maybe 30 million. But I feel like the life is basically the same. Okay, you get a mega yacht instead of a nice yacht. You get a hypercar instead of a supercar. Who fucking cares? You know what I mean?
Pretty much the same.
I think that the one thing for sure that I've yet to experience is like personal assistant in real life with you traveling at all times. You literally don't have to do anything. Hey, can you get me a Red Bull? She goes and gets you a Red Bull, right? You fly private 24/7. You have security with you 24/7. These things I haven't experienced yet. So those are the things that I'm really looking forward to. But even then, I live a very good life. I'm very, very grateful and happy where I'm at.
Well, listen, at the age of 25, turning over multiple 7 figures, you've smashed it, no?
Yeah.
You got to be proud of that. You got to sometimes, like you say, zoom out and think, you know what? Fair play. I've done very, very well. The only scary part is you made a lot of money very, very young. You've got to be careful. I've spoke to a lot of people who have made a lot of money very young. By the time they get to 50, they're like, yeah, I fucking lost it all. I become a gambler. I started partying every week. you seem a little bit different. Only part of you that seems different is you're very, with all due respect, strange as fuck that you love being by yourself.
Yeah.
Most people make money and they have a whole team of friends. I even said it today. I was like, oh, he's probably going to come with like 2-3 people. You turn up with your girlfriend. I was like, oh, okay, fair play. Nice. I respect it because you're not showing off. You're not stunting. I rate it a lot. So listen, good luck to everything in the future. I hope it all pans out to what it does. Let's make sure you hit your 20 million goal before 30.
Let's do it.
Anything else we need to say to the viewers?
Nah, man, you just gotta fucking stay consistent. That's the only thing. I know it sounds so simple and cliche, but one thing that I always say is, even you yourself and everybody watching at home, imagine one person in your head who you believe is the greatest of all time. Doesn't matter what industry, what sport, genre, it doesn't matter. You got the one person, right? Now, think how long that person has been doing that thing for. Probably not a couple months, couple years, probably a couple of decades. So if you just do something and you stick with it, give it at least 2-3 years, you're gonna fucking become successful. It is guaranteed. It is impossible to not. Like, you're in great shape. You didn't just wake up and go, oh, I want to go gym. Tomorrow you're in great shape. No, it just happened over a long period of time. And you just got to stay consistent. That's simple as that.
I think a lot of people, even with YouTube, I've seen so many podcasts open, 3 months later closed.
There you go.
And I speak to people, I'm like, why'd you stop? And they're like, well, my videos didn't. I was like, bro, my first video didn't go viral.
Yeah.
I didn't get to where I got to by, listen, your first 3 months in business, you had a great run at it.
Yeah.
Your first, when you signed your social media deals, you said it took you 7 months till you hit a 10K goal.
Yep.
If you stopped after 3 months, you wouldn't be here today.
And most people do.
100%. And most people stop before they sign their first deal. They do all the hard work. They set the whole business up. They plan it all out. They're like, this is the vision. Why did you not start it? Oh yeah, my friend said don't do it. And I'm like, just fix up.
Or the one other thing, and I'll leave with this, Mikey, is they procrastinate way too fucking much, right? They do what's easy. The easy thing is not confronting like failure and problems and so on, aka building your little website, doing the little logo, changing the color of this and that, ordering your little fake plants on Amazon right for the background. That's the easy part. The hard part is going, fuck it, upload. And now you're gonna get feedback, positive or negative. But people hate that. People, and they don't realize it, but that is the thing that stops them from actually taking action,
100%.
Which is insane. Who cares, bro? Look at Queen Elizabeth. This lady was one of the most influential, powerful people of our modern day and age. When was the last time you thought of Queen Elizabeth?
I don't. No, I don't.
Bro, how insane is that? We all live our little lives spinning on this little rock in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. We don't even know what the fuck's going on. So who cares? As long as you don't hurt other people, your intentions are good, and you try to be a family man and you look after the people that you look after, in my opinion, that's the most important thing.
Listen, I agree with that 100%. Family to me is everything. And let's wrap it up on that. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, man.
Guys, if you enjoyed that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.